Hello, I'm Brian Fitzgerald, the Golf Doctor, and today I thought I would be festive and we'll do our Christmas golf tip. So a few weeks ago I sent an email around to people that are on my email newsletter list and asked for some questions, and quite a few people have responded. So today we're going to go through and we'll answer those questions the best way I can over the next few minutes, so I hope you enjoy the tip. Okay, this question is a driving question from David Kearney. Hi Brian, why am I pushing one drive to the right and the next one pulling left? It's doing my head in. I would love to play with a gentle draw, but I think my hands have other ideas. Dave. Thanks for the question, Dave. It is very frustrating, isn't it? You think one goes right, one goes left. All I want to do is have something going consistently. So the fact is I know your swing, Dave, so I have a really good picture of what it is that's going on. So I've set up a couple of sticks here to illustrate. This stick here is my alignment stick, which is pointing down in the direction I want it to go. This stick here is the direction I would like my swing path to go to. Now my swing path that I want to go to is out towards 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, somewhere in that vein. 12 o'clock is my target, 1 to 2 o'clock is where I want to swing. So when you hit that shot that you say goes to the right, that's actually the good swing, where your swing path is traveling exactly where you want it to go. The only thing is your club face is left pointing a little bit to the right. So you could almost say your swing path is parallel to the your club face angle is parallel to the swing path. And that's producing that shot that just goes out to the right and fades a little bit. Now your predominant swing path is actually one that goes to the left. So if you do your normal swing path and you have a square club face and the club is coming down to the left, that's that slight pull that you want. So to hit a draw, you want a swing path that goes slightly to the right with the club face rotating a little bit through the ball. Now you tend to rotate your club face after you've hit the ball, so you've got to try and get your club face rotating a little bit prior to making contact with the ball. If you can do that and swing it to the right, you'll hit that draw that you want. So the one that goes left is not overactive hands, it's your swing path headed to the left, and you use your hands really well. So we just got to focus more on the path of the club and get that club face rotating early. So a video like last week's video, which was, can a tennis racket help improve your golf? That would be the sort of thing that you would need to do. You could also use the 3 balls in line drill. I'll put links to all of these videos that I'm suggesting down in the bottom of the YouTube comment section. So you can always look that up later, or you can just go straight to the website. I hope that helps. This tip is from Craig Dare. Craig asks, hi Brian, my problem is when you're on the high side of the green, the pin position is on the high on the green, you're starting in the rough only a metre away from the green and you've only got a metre of green to work with. Having the confidence in my chip to pop it up and stop it. My 2 usual results are underhit and going nowhere, or skinny it and go to the right on the green. Help. Cheers, Craig. Thanks for that, Craig. It's quite a common thing. And it just depends on how thick the grass is and how steep the slope is. So here I've got a shot. It's a little bit more than what you were asking for, but it's as near as I could find today. So this is sitting down a little bit. So whenever the ball is sitting down, we have to make sure that we're hitting down. If you're taking it back low and parallel to the ground, it's going to get caught up in the grass, and it's going to make the consistency of the hit quite inconsistent. So to make sure that we do hit down on it, I try and get the ball back in my stance. I get my weight forward by getting my nose in front. I have my hands in front and I grip down. From there, I don't transfer my weight at all during this shot. I really just pick the club up and I'm trying to drop it down, and it's almost going to get caught in the grass. I'm not going to decelerate, but I'm not going to accelerate rapidly. And all I'm going to do is hit it in the air long enough to get over this little bit of rough. It's going to get on the green and it's going to run. I'm playing this with a lob wedge. It's probably not going to run as much down to that flagstick, but I'm trying to simulate the question that you asked. So we'll see how I go with that. So it's ball back in the stance. I grip down on it, nose in front, creating my weight on my front foot. And from there, I just pick the club up and I drop down. And you can see there the ball's landed just a little bit between those yellow sticks, and it didn't run that far when it landed. If I wanted to land it even shorter, I just have a shorter swing. But don't be frightened to grip it a bit firm, because when the club hits the ground, it's going to stop the club. So you've got to make sure you've got a good grip on it. But you just don't want to swing too hard. So we'll do that again. Ball back in the stance, weight on the left side by getting my nose in front, and I just use a shorter swing. That one landed a bit shorter, and you'll see it just ran on a little bit. I hope that helps. Here's another short game related question from Richard Palmer. Richard asks, "Hi Brian, when left with a distance of around 30 metres to the pin across a flat stretch of ground, and the pin is say 5 to 10 metres from the edge of the green, what is the high percentage shot to the pin? Pitch, chip or run? Best way to execute it?" Richard. Thanks for that question, Richard. The good news is, and the bad news I suppose, is that there's actually no right or wrong answer with that question. You've got to go partly with how good you are at that particular facet of the game. You've also got to look at what the area is between you and the hole. In this situation here, the grass is, it's shortish, but it's still slightly long. So putting is an option, but putting could be a little bit difficult given here. Now, if you were playing at a course that had better surrounds, putting is probably the safest option of the lot from this position. And if there's nothing in the way, probably putting is the best option. You're only 30 metres, it's not very far away. So I'd probably go putting. The next favourite option would be to chip it. And when you chip it, you would be chipping it with a 5-iron or a rescue club, and you're trying to keep it low, basically putting, but you're just keeping it in the air for a short distance. And from there, it's going to react like a putt. So that's probably my second option. Although if you, in these circumstances today, with the grass being a bit longer, chipping's probably the better option out of chipping and putting. The third option is the pitch shot. Now, you might be an excellent pitcher like Phil Mickelson, in which case that's probably the best option all of the time. But if you haven't got fantastic technique and you don't have a lot of confidence in the pitch shot, it's probably one to stay away from. But if you do, you're trying to land the ball around 5 metres short. You want to land it on. You don't want to land a pitch shot short of the green, because there's every chance that it's going to stop. So you're trying to land it on, but as you correctly say, it doesn't give you a lot of room there. You could also say to yourself, well, it's not a bad option to be past the flag. It depends which course, which hole you're thinking of. If it's a fairly flat surface, it's okay to have a 5 metre putt slightly down the hill. You just don't want it too severe. So it's a gut instinct. There's no right or wrong. You've got to go with percentages. I always say that with in the short game, putting is the best option unless there's a reason not to. Now, the reason not to here could be the long grass. The next best option is to think of chipping. Chipping is certainly the best option. You'll make it run. It's only a short distance. It'll work quite well. And the toughest shot of the lot is the pitch shot. It's the one that's exciting, and it's a great skill to have, but I think a lot of average or normal weekend golfers overplay that shot. So if you stick to putting and chipping, I think you'll go a lot better. Thanks for the question, Richard. And this tip's from Julian Hughes. Julian's suffering in the cold weather over there in England, so I said I would send you some sun, Julian, so here it is. It's about 24 degrees here this morning, and it's going to get up to about 31, so I'll send it your way. I hope it warms you up wherever you're viewing this. Julian says, "I would love to see a vlog on the proper way to practice at the range and the importance of swing changes being separate to practicing at the range. Hope these questions are okay." They certainly are, Julian, and to some degree I actually covered this a few weeks ago on how to practice in that. Now, I think you've made a really good point. There are two types of practice sessions that you have. There is a practice session that you have when you're trying to work on a mechanical aspect of your swing. You may have just had a lesson and your coach might be working on a particular facet of the swing. So during that session, yes, you want to pretty much stick to the same club, and you're trying to work on whatever that move is, whether it's the takeaway or position at the top, swing path, whatever it is. You hit a lot of balls focusing on that area. You utilize training aids that your coach has suggested. You put all sorts of things down on the ground to assist you with that. So even with that, toward the end of your practice session, I really encourage you to practice with a few different clubs. So you might spend 90% working on your change, but in the last 10%, have 4 or 5 different clubs and try and hit 2 or 3 shots with every club and then change, whether you hit good shots or bad shots. It's good for your brain to get used to change. So I would still encourage that. The other type of practice session, as I say in the other video, is to use the practice randomizer. And you can view the video I'll put a link up there to get that. But basically you can go to my website, and under the resources tab you can download my practice randomizer sheet. You can just cut it up and you put it all in a bag and you pull one out, and it tells you what shot to hit with what club. It might be a 7-iron low to the left, or it might be a 5-iron high to the right. It could be a 30-meter sand wedge. So every shot you're hitting is a different shot, because that's what happens on the golf course. You don't often get to hit 3 drives first and then say, I'm ready for the 4th now, this one counts. It counts first go, so you've got to get your brain ready for that. So I'm a big advocate of hitting a shot and then changing the club, changing the type of shot, changing where you're lining up, what your target is, and the more you can do that, the better. And I think if you mix up those practice sessions, you should have a lot more success. I hope you enjoyed that. Now this tip comes from Ray Pittman. And Ray says, I know you can help me, but I'm not sure if you can solve my problem without looking at my golf swing. I have a problem with my 5-iron in the set of pings I have. I had the same problem with the 5-iron in my previous set of clubs I had prior to buying this new set of pings. I seem to be shanking the ball, if that's the correct term, pushing the ball directly out to the right and not getting any distance to speak of. So that's a summary of what Ray just said, and this is also a pretty common question. Most people have a tipping point in the swing where it gets very difficult to get the golf ball in the air with a certain club. Some people have a tipping point of a 7-iron or a 6-iron and they just can't get anything more than that up in the air. So Ray's tipping point is the 5-iron. He hits a 6-iron great. So what it is, deep down, Ray, you don't trust the club's ability to get the ball in the air. So your brain is doing everything it can to try and help get some loft on the club. So 2 things occur. One, you're trying to help get the ball in the air by swinging across your body to the left. Now by doing that, it also opens the club face a little bit. So when you swing it to the left and you open the club face a little bit like that, it's trying to put loft on it, and it can sometimes get loft on the ball, but it does produce a shot that goes very right. If you get it wrong, you're either going to catch one out of the toe of the club, or you're going to catch one out of the heel of the golf club. Now, if you catch one in the heel of an iron, there is no heel there, there is the hosel, and if the ball hits the hosel, it shoots straight right at about a 45-degree angle, and I think that's the one that you're referring to. So what I suggest is that there is enough loft on your 5-iron to get the ball in the air by itself. You don't need to help. So you need to get your club face rotating through the shot. You don't need to add loft. Let the club do it for you. Now by rotating the club, you have a proper 5-iron loft impacting with the ball. You will also generate a little bit more club head speed because you're actually releasing the club, and that's going to make you hit it further. The more you swing to the left and open the club, the more the lofts remain the same. So this might be a 5-iron, but by the time you hit the ball with an open club face and a swing path to the left, you're turning it into a 7-iron or an 8-iron. So there's quite often a lot of bunching up of distances in the longer clubs with people. In theory, there's 10 metres between clubs. That's wrong. It's nowhere near 10 metres, even on the US Tour. There's 11 yards between some of the shorter shots, and then as the clubs go up, it gets down to about 7 or 8 by the time they get to 2-iron and 3-iron. So, 10 yards is a myth. So forget that one. We want to get about 7 metres, 7 yards between clubs, and I think you're doing the right thing. So the thing you need to do is focus on letting the club face rotate through the ball. It's allowed to rotate through the ball, and even though that feels like you're going to be hitting it lower, you're actually going to be hitting it with a right loft. You'll generate some speed, and that'll give you the more distance and accuracy that you want. I hope that helps. And this tip's from Jeff Henderson. Jeff writes, "Hi Brian, thanks for your advice in the 2 lessons I have had so far. Noticeable improvement. There is one shot that I really need to work on. It's the chip shot. I practice small chip shots in the backyard and usually they work fairly well, but when I'm on the course I seem to top the ball and send it way across the other side of the green. I have seen your coffee cup video and will practice that a bit. I will be overseas for a few weeks, but looking forward to some advice on the short shots when I return." Thanks again, Jeff. Thanks for the question, Jeff. And this is quite a common question, particularly with newer golfers. So the thing about chipping is it's all about angle of attack. Now, I'm glad you enjoyed the coffee cup drill, but the coffee cup drill is really a drill designed to pitch, which is the opposite of a chip. Pitches, we want to get the ball in the air. Chipping, we want to keep it low. And it sounds to me like you're trying to get the ball in the air. So when you say that you're hitting the top of the ball, you're hitting up on the chip shot. Chip shots are really best with a slightly descending blow. We don't want to come down steep, not like the shot that we were just talking about from Craig's question. This one is that we want a shallow angle of attack. So we want to keep the club low to the ground so that if you do miss-hit it, it's very slightly thin, but it's slight thin on the bottom part of the ball, not the top part of the ball. So we just need to hit this in the air long enough to just get the ball on the green. So to do that, we've got to make sure that we keep our wrists out of the shot. So you could look at one of my other chipping videos, whether it's the stick drill or one of those, but really it's all aimed, maybe the ball on the wrist drill is another one you could look at. It's really aimed at trying to keep the angle in that left wrist. We don't want the left wrist doing that. As soon as you do that, you hit up and you top it. So we want to keep that nice and firm. So very similar to the other chip shot, we play it off the back foot. We have our weight slightly on the front foot by getting our nose in front, hands in front, and from there we're keeping my wrists pretty stiff, and I'm just thinking about what length of backswing I need to land between my 2 yellow sticks. This is a 9-iron that I'm using for this shot. So the ball landed between the 2 yellow sticks and the ball runs down, and that's gone about 70 centimetres from the hole. So that's it. Just to recap, keep that angle of attack nice and shallow, and I think you'll find your chips will get a lot better. Thanks for that one. And this tip has been requested by John Wickens. John asks, "Questions you would like. When I land near a tree with an overhanging branch, some 50 or 60 from the green, and have to decide that I would like to loft it, but would probably hit a branch or foliage, I have been using, say, a 3-iron to keep the ball low on the ground. Not sure how to grip. I shank it a bit, stand or less strength on the shot. What would you suggest, please?" Thanks for that, John. Quite often when people find themselves in these situations, what they do is they think, I need to hit it low, so they go and grab a 3-iron, which in theory really should make it go low. The problem is, if you don't do it correctly, it is just as likely to go high and you'll hit that branch that you're trying to miss. So I much prefer to choose a club that I want to have a little bit less loft than I need, but I use my technique to keep the ball down low. So the problem with using a 3-iron is that when I'm using a 3-iron, I trust the club having very little loft, and in doing so, I sometimes use my left hand and push it forward a bit like a cricket shot. And as soon as I do that, my club face, as you can see from behind there, is pointing to the right. That causes the shank. So you don't really want to do that. It also causes a loss of power. So I prefer to use a medium club. I have a 9-iron here at the moment, which is probably not the right club, but I can still make it go low. So to make it go low, we play it along the lines of a chip shot. We put the ball back in our stance, level with our right foot. We have our hands in front, we have our nose in front, and we don't transfer weight. But with the chip shot, we keep the club low. A lot of people tend to pick the club up. And Isaac Newton discovered that what goes up must come down, and if you're hitting down on it, that will probably shoot the ball up in the air even with a 3-iron. So I much prefer to keep my angle of attack quite shallow. So I'm going to try and hit this about 40 metres or so under this tree, and we'll see how I go. So I have my ball level with my back foot. I've got my hands a little bit higher at address to help lock my wrists, and I don't want to use my wrists in this shot. I want to keep them out. And from there I've got my weight forward by having my nose slightly in front. I stay on the left foot, and then I swing with a shallow angle of attack. And as you can see there, the ball went quite low, even though I hit with a 9-iron. So as I'm hitting it, I'm trying to get my club face rotating through the shot, which will help to keep the ball down a little bit. If I keep my hands in front all the time and the club face opens, it's going to go up in the air, and that won't work. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for the question. So I hope you enjoyed those tips. It's the first time I've actually asked for questions, and it was actually quite good fun. It's good to hear what you're all having trouble with. So I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope that answered some of the questions. And if ever you get a question, feel free to email me and ask me the question anyway. So that's it for the year. I'm going to take a week off next week, so there'll be no video. So we'll be back the first week of January. I hope you have a great Christmas, New Year period. And if you're in Australia, make the most of it and get out on the golf courses while the weather's good. For those in the Northern Hemisphere, stay as warm as you can, keep practice swinging at home, do some drills, and warm weather is only a matter of months away. So have a great New Year, and I look forward to seeing you back in 2016. If you like my videos, you can always click on the subscribe button. You can also get further information on my Facebook page or my Twitter page, or if you'd like to sign up for my email newsletter, you can do so on thegolfdoctor.com.au.